Hey everyone, Ben here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to take a look at some common sim racing mistakes which at one stage or another we probably all made, and hopefully get into how we might avoid making them in the future. Let me know in the comments if you've made these mistakes yourself or if there are others you try to avoid, and if you find the video enjoyable or helpful, remember to hit the like button and get subscribed to the channel for more sim racing guides and race videos. Overtaking in sim racing can be really challenging, especially if the guy ahead is well matched with you on pace or if you're running in a pack of cars, something which is very common in a series like touring cars. In these kinds of situations, it can become really easy to be distracted from your usual racing lines, braking and turning in points as you're trying to keep track of multiple cars around you and steal an advantage on those you're fighting with. It can be really easy to adopt a view of, in order to get past whatever happens, I'm going to brake just a little bit later than the car in front of me or alongside me. Or, if you're following behind a car trying to keep up, that you'll start using them as your reference point for getting through corners quickly. Which is all well and good until the other drivers involved mess up their braking points, either because they're paying attention to what you're doing or they're trying to just push a little bit too hard to keep the position. And because you've outsourced control over when you slow your car down to the other guy, instead of taking the position from him as he runs wide or deep into a corner, you follow them all the way in, very likely losing positions in the process. In the example on screen, I thought I'd be able to follow the Renault up ahead through the corner and make 2 passes for the price of 1. But he misses his braking point, and so do I too. Instead of gaining at least 1 place, I lose several. The lesson here is even in close combat you shouldn't lose focus on your braking and turning points. Alongside being aware of where other cars are, you also have to keep responsibility for where you are on track. Over recent years, an increasing number of aids have been introduced to help high downforce cars with overtaking. Perhaps none more famous than the DRS, the drag reduction system, as featured in DTM and Formula 1 amongst other series. DRS works by reducing downforce on the rear wing of the car, making it quicker in a straight line, and is usually activated for a car chasing down someone up ahead. The specific rules vary from series to series. Equally, different sims integrate these features in different ways. The official F1 series, for example, adheres to the DRS zones of the real-life sport. In Race Room, the DTMs have true-to-life rules, but other series sporting the DRS like the FRX 17 do not. In both cases, you can press a button to activate the DRS at any point in the lap you choose, albeit in the DTM you have limited applications for it per lap. The DRS will automatically close once you hit the brakes. The challenge here is that while DRS makes you very quick in a straight line, having it open makes navigating corners nigh on impossible, and not all corners have a braking zone. So imagine the situation where you're hunting down the guy ahead, fully focused on getting past, but you're approaching a corner like 130R at Suzuka, and well, you forget to close the DRS. Then this happens. So if you're running in a series with DRS, don't get too distracted by the overtake that it's helping you to complete. And remember, sometimes you actually need to press the button again to deactivate it. We've all been there. The lights go green, we get a better start than those around us, and the adrenaline is flowing. Half a gap opens up into T1 or T2 and we launch it up the inside to maximise the good start we've made. And before you know it, you're in the barrier. Here's an example from Monza this week where, having taken encouragement from gaining a few positions off the start and safely making my way through T1, I make a very silly mistake heading into the second chicane, putting a needless amount of pressure on into the first apex but without ever being close enough to really mount an overtake. The result, the other driver gets spun around, and because manners cost nothing, we lose a bunch of positions as we let him by a couple of laps later. Back to Suzuka for a further example of putting the car into a position where you're just inviting contact for no real gain. This time we're in the GT4 and again we've made a great start, but then an overly optimistic lunge into T1 undoes all of that, and this time it's us that ends up in the barrier, dropping from the podium positions to last place. There can be a real tendency to imagine you have to make up as many places as possible in the first lap, given how close all the cars are. But the reality is, depending on the track, this can be where the race is at its most dangerous, and where you have the most amount of information to quickly process all at once, with cars potentially coming at you from all angles. For me, for most sim racers in most combinations of car and track, I think you have much more to lose at the start of a race than you have to gain. So by all means, be robust in trying to get the best start possible, but don't risk chucking it all away by getting carried away. Even in a 15-minute race, it can feel like a very long time when you've dropped all the way to the back of the grid at the first corner. So there you go, a few common mistakes that we as sim racers I think all have a tendency to make from time to time. Let me know if you found yourselves in these positions, or if there are other common mistakes you make while out on track. If you've enjoyed the video, hit the like button, get subscribed, and I will see you next time.